in the days when farmers were left more or less to their own devices to produce food, and that was what everybody needed, nobody argued about that, it was a more straightforward relationship. And it has become really quite complicated with the way in which information is presented and what it actually means. So everybody becomes an expert on everything without necessarily having got involved or understanding the context in which it takes place. And for a sector like agriculture, that includes everything, from science to the impact of weather, which nowadays people regard as very secondary importance, and hardly ever even look at a weather forecast, never mind think that it has an impact. And yet here we are in a year where drought is having a real impact on the food prices, and food prices rise, and there's a sort of concept nowadays that you should be able to control those. Why does something control food prices? And food has become more expensive. It's been very cheap. It will get more expensive. How is that relationship going to stand up in explaining that relationship? And there are a lot of people, it's a good career, that would like to be part of it, that may find it difficult to get in, and that's the other part of the equation. And you as advocates have been very interesting in your attitudes towards that, and how you see your future in terms of the sector, how you get into it, and what part you play in it. I think people still suffer, for thinking that careers in the sector, that agriculture is somehow a basic skill. This is not something you don't require a huge amount of qualification. There is no such thing as an unskilled job, and certainly not in the agricultural sector, where science has a real impact. And it would be really good news if that science could be done by people who understand the sector and understand what it means, and not just from people who started doing science and then end up doing subjects related to agriculture. That would be really nice, to start your science from an agricultural perspective. Technology of the highest order at all levels, and all the skills in between, and including the old-fashioned ones, like animal husbandry, which takes a few years of practice to actually learn. That's quite difficult to do online.